Hey peers, welcome back to the Modern Myths Podcast. I'm Vince Ventura, your host for the Modern Myths Podcast and artistic director of 12 Piers Theater. We took last week off so that we could bring you a special double episode featuring the entirety of Spiraling by Judith Pratt. Spiraling is about an anthropology professor and her assistant who mysteriously received 3 masks representing the gods of an unknown tribe. Spiraling gets really into myth and self-actualization, and we think you're really going to enjoy it. And now, Spiraling by Judith Pratt.
Spiraling by Judith Pratt. The characters.
Meredith Bailey, a lecturer in anthropology.
Jill Altschuler, a graduate student in anthropology.
Emma Pettigrew Litchfield, ageless. In 1910, she left Boston and traveled among the islands of the Pacific.
The setting. Today, in a small university in a decaying Rust Belt city. The stage represents a Pacific island, a grubby office in the college, and a grassy spot on campus. 2 desks with chairs, a wall, and perhaps a bookcase. Act 1. November. The office. Jill is fooling with a computer. Meredith enters, wet, in a winter coat, and in a hurry.
There you are.
Traffic was hopeless. Worse all the time. Hard to believe, I know. And those damn weathermen were wrong again. This is sleet, not snow.
I got you coffee.
Just a meaningless ritual. People in plastic hair predicting nothing.
It's on your desk.
I've stopped drinking coffee.
Again?
Is the slideshow ready?
Just a few more minutes.
You're telling me it's broken. Again.
Network is down. I'll get it fixed by class time. No problem.
How the hell can you lecture about artifacts when you can't even see pictures? I'll have to redo the whole damn thing.
Don't worry, it'll be ready.
Moronic managers on money-saving missions. Don't replace anything until it disintegrates into its component atoms, then express concern about poor teaching evaluations and lousy staff morale.
November sucks.
Sucked dry. Sucked into the void.
You could check out that box while I finish this.
What box?
The one that looks like it came from Indiana Jones.
Oh, it's not a box. It's a crate.
You could check out that crate.
Where did it come from?
Indiana Jones.
Very funny.
It was here when I got in. Didn't someone deliver it yesterday afternoon?
I was at the library, and I locked this door. I always lock the door.
I asked all around. No one in the office knows anything about it, or the mailroom.
Probably some inane bureaucratic muddle.
Maybe I should call security. I mean, you never know.
I have a lecture to rewrite. I don't need them bumbling around in here scratching themselves and shining their flashlights on it.
That's very classist.
I should never have told you about 60s politics.
Meredith, I think we should deal with this. I mean, it could be a bomb or
some arcane poison.
Meredith.
Maybe the stuff Medea put on that bimbo's nightgown.
I'll just call security. We'll feel better if I do.
Will we now?
Hello? This is Jill Altschuler in anthropology. We seem to have this mysterious box. ALTSCHULER. Room 31B. I don't know. That's the thing. No one signed for it or to Meredith Bailey, Department of Anthropology, but... Meredith, what are you doing?
Meredith has found a big screwdriver and has pried off the lid of the box.
No, excuse me. It's just... Look, I'll have to call you back. Don't do that. That's insane. Meredith, shit!
Are we dead yet?
We have to get out of here.
What's the incubation period for bubonic plague?
Come on!
Don't be ridiculous.
Meredith, please.
Jill hesitates, then runs. Meredith unpacks. As she does, Emma enters onto her island space, looking at her journal.
Look at this packing material. Wood shavings. Excelsior.
Meredith lifts out the Kadridi mask.
Kadriyi was the most beautiful. Her skin was as smooth and dark as the river, her breasts as full and round as the honey fruit.
Look at this, Jill. Jill. No guts.
Meredith lifts out the Ajala mask.
Ajala had more children than any other woman, and she loved them all. Whenever a child was orphaned or its parents walked off, Ajala would always take that child to her fire.
They can't be authentic.
Meredith lifts out the Chamagana mask. She looks at this one much longer than the other two.
Chamagana was older than anyone could remember. When people's crops withered or when they quarreled, they always came to Chamagana for counsel.
They look authentic.
One day the people came to her and said, "That foolish Canuchuo has let death into the world." So Chamagana went searching for death.
Meredith puts down the mask, rummages in the box.
No note.
She finds a label.
Bellamy Pettigrew, Miskatonic Hall.
As Emma talks, Meredith picks up the packing material, shuts the box, and exits.
Dear Grace, I'm afraid I gave up on your lovely cruise ship once we reached Hawaii. Instead, I have taken a series of merchant steamers that would horrify your Yankee housewife soul. But I have seen the most beautiful places and traveled all over this immense ocean. Now, you'll be pleased to know I'm staying with an unexceptionable missionary family on an island known by the natives as Duamueiapue. That's how Reverend Herkosh transcribes it. The best way we can do it pronouncing it, and that's not as the natives say it, is Duamuapuye. The Duamuapue women make the most wonderful masks. They won't let Reverend Hirkosh see them because he's a man. Miss Hirkosh thinks they reek of the ungodly, so she won't help him in his quest for anthropological information. But the women have talked with me, and I have hopes of learning more.
Meredith enters the office, followed by Jill.
We've got another student revolution on our hands.
These kids wouldn't know revolution if it bit them on the ass.
Like last year, only worse. The sophomores came to me in a sort of delegation. They're angry about the last set of papers.
I read them. I graded them. I gave them back.
And you surpassed yourself for, well, they were kind of unfair.
Oh, no, Jill. Don't let them pull that on you. These grades are so, unfair. I mean, I never got a D in, my whole life.
Not the grades, the comments. I've seen better writing from 8th graders. I always thought English was your first language, but clearly I've been mistaken. And just, what? Written in the margin over and over again. It's just mean.
You read that stuff. You know how bad it was.
No one learns anything when you insult them.
They don't learn any other way.
I think people do better if you show you care about them.
I know that people only learn if you kick their butts.
You just need some time off, Meredith.
I beg your pardon.
I know you don't get a sabbatical till you get tenure, but what with all the time you've been here, I'm sure you could probably...
I do not need to go off anywhere and have a nice rest.
But you're so angry all the time. You didn't used to be this way.
You have no idea how I used to be.
It's just that you were so idealistic once. I didn't mean to imply that...
What did you mean?
Please don't yell at me.
You come in here and tell me how to teach and insinuate that I'm cracking up. I get a little annoyed and you go belly up like a cocker spaniel and say don't yell at me?
I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Oh, Christ, don't do that. Look, Jill, women, we know this now from actual scientific studies. Women in this culture learn to be nice, kind, forgiving, and to apologize, just like you. I didn't mean to. I won't do it again. Saccharine bullshit.
Yelling doesn't do any good.
Oh, yes it does.
Dr. Kellick thinks people should be kind to...
all project sweetness, light, and team spirit. He wants to win the prize for most collegial department.
I know you're applying for tenure, and I just thought that you might want to think about...
Yes, I love teaching 4 classes, making the students happy, serving on dozens of tedious committees, kissing up to Kellick, and maybe getting a little research done in my spare time.
Oh, yeah, but that's what you think I should do.
For years I've been kind and forgiving, carefully explaining the logical thought process to Stacy's student, and she never learns. Or he never learns either. So I take it out on Stacy number 233 because I wasn't tough enough with Stacy's 1 through 232.
You got to do all that traveling and Peace Corps stuff. You haven't had to deal with the Stacys all your life. Like I'll have to do if I write that dumb dissertation.
You want to join the Peace Corps? Then do it.
I don't think I'd be any good at that.
Then you can take a whole series of NGO jobs trying to save refugees and feed Africa.
It's important work.
Then do it.
That isn't the point.
The point is, I didn't get my PhD until I was almost 40. That's too late. 30 is too late. You're going to do this? Do it. Write your dissertation. Get a nice tenure-track job. Health insurance. Start saving money.
It's just munching over that stuff from that Mexican village that Kellic has been chewing on for 20 years.
You loved Mexico.
That's just it. Cramming Tarahumara social customs into yet another dissertation is just stupid.
You knew when you got here that this department is not exactly cutting edge.
And you know that I couldn't afford to pay for anything more than this college.
And couldn't settle on anything.
Look, everyone goes through some confusion about what they want to do.
3 undergraduate majors and giving up on law school? Going around in circles is not a direction.
You knew that when I applied.
That's why I want you to write this damn dissertation, before you fall apart under pressure.
That wasn't why I quit before.
You like bromides. Consider this one. 3rd time is the charm.
What about the sophomores?
You think about your research. I'll think about the sophomores.
Jill exits. Meredith works. Emma enters.
Chimagana was always trying to cheat death. Finally, she lost her temper with it. First, she beat up Canuchuo, whose foolishness brought death into the world. Then, Chimagana tried to find death itself. There are many stories about Chimagana's long, fruitless journeys searching for death and about her battle with death. This is the story I like the best. After Chimagana had been fighting with death for 10 days, the heat from their battle set the grass on fire. Then the trees caught fire, and the whole jungle burned. Finally, the river started boiling. It boiled all the way to the ocean. It boiled the ocean, and it boiled the fish right up out of the ocean. Then the people, who had been hiding for 10 days without much to eat, sent out the bravest to gather up the nicely cooked fish. After a while, everyone came out to sit on the beach, eating fish and watching Chimagana fight with death. Then death escaped, and Chimagana went wild with rage. She tore up trees, she tossed around rocks, she pulled the dead out of the earth and threw their bones around. She cried to Mu'uapawe, "This is a stupid way to make a world. I could do better with a splintery digging stick." Finally, Mu'uapawe came down and stopped Chimagana from ruining the world. But Mu'uapawe was fair. She said Chimagana had a right to be angry, although nothing could be changed now that death was in the world. Mu'uapawe gave Chimagana powerful healing rituals and created a new plant to ease pain, and Chimagana agreed to stop destroying and start healing. They let me wear Chimagana. All I did was put the mask on. I won't do so again. She brought me face to face with all my angers, all my fears, at the littleness of life and the inevitability of death. How can I ever be old enough or strong enough to wear her? The old women here, old when they're barely 40, only a few years older than I, they wear Chimagana with such serenity, such wisdom. You must go beyond her rage, they tell me. But I don't feel rage. Only flat terror.
A few days later, Meredith is in the office reading a note. Jill enters. She sets up her laptop computer.
It's all explained. A note from our esteemed chairman. He thinks it will be an interesting challenge.
Jill takes the note from Meredith.
Dear Mary. Mary?
Chairperson Kellic wants us all to be one happy family, a merry band.
These are from the family of one of our most generous alumni. I think you will find them a challenge. All the best, Jim.
Good old Jimmy.
That's all?
The Pettigrew Litchfield family found this box in their attic and thought we might like it. Jimmy thinks that if I will find out all about it, he will vote yes on my tenure application.
He doesn't say that.
Despite all his charming circumlocutions, that's the issue. I talked to him.
Pettigrew Litchfield.
Also, we shouldn't annoy the esteemed Pettigrew Litchfields by asking them any questions.
So what are we supposed to do?
Our dear friends, and I quote from Chairperson Jim Kellick, our dear friends, the Pettigrew Litchfields, believe that the crate, damn it, that the box came from their great-uncle Bellamy C. Pettigrew.
B-E-L-L...
Now passed on, whose name is on the building they so generously funded. It's that concrete monstrosity that houses the winning combination of archaeology, mathematics, and human resources.
Would a history of the college be useful?
But our box of masks might have come from great-uncle Russell Litchfield Collins, who lives in Ipswich, Massachusetts.
I've always liked the ocean.
You looking for Uncle Russell?
My laptop is a lot better than that ancient artifact over there.
Talk about tribal magic.
Here he is. Oh, gosh.
139 Labor in Vain Road, Ipswich, Massachusetts. I hope not.
Emma enters.
It sounds foolish and overblown to say that the stories of the Duamuapwe inspire me, but they do. One of Ajala's children was named Jemensai. When still very young, she learned all the stories and all the myths. She loved to recite them and to teach them to other children. But she did not learn to raise food or cook food or make cloth, for of course Ajala did all of that for her. When Ajala blew away, Jemensai would not learn to raise food or cook food or make cloth. She sat and recited all the stories and myths of the Duamuapwe from the beginning to the end, and when she got to the end, she began again. She did that all her life until she was a very old woman. One day she was silent for the whole day, and the next day she died.
Meredith is in the office. Jill enters.
There you are.
I got that history of the college you wanted. I hope it didn't get too wet.
Your friends from Hazmat have trashed the office.
It's really coming down out there.
For no reason.
I cleaned it up.
We're missing a mask. You need to call Hazmat and get it back.
They brought all 3 of them back after doing the analysis. I put them up on the bookcase.
There are only 2 there. What did you do with the 3rd?
Did it fall down behind?
How could it? I already looked. Of course I looked. We need to keep these more secure if people are going to be wandering in and out of the office anytime they feel like it.
We had to get that stuff checked out, Dr. Bailey. It could have been really dangerous.
So they checked it out, Miss Altschuler. No anthrax, no radioactivity, no nothing. And now I look stupid. And they took one of the masks.
It's here, in the drawer.
Why the hell did you put it in there?
I didn't. I put it on the shelf with the others. Then I locked the door and went to lunch. I think they have a mind of their own.
Nonsense.
Meredith picks up the book.
Is Bellamy Pettigrew in here?
Assistant Professor of Archaeology, 1948 to 1967. And Miskatonic Hall, fallen to urban renewal in 1973.
I love city campuses. Knock it down, build it up, knock it down. Maybe the department knows where his papers went.
She dials the phone.
Hello, this is Meredith Bailey in anthropology. I'm trying to locate the papers of Bellamy Pettigrew, who was a professor there from Bellamy. 2 L's, right. Pettigrew. Pettigrew. W, as in, why is this so hard? No, I'm Meredith Bailey. M-E-R, never mind.
You could just go over there and ask them.
And cool my heels for an hour outside the chair's carpeted office?
They won't make you do that.
I know her. She's a Teflon twit.
But she has what you want. If we can find out about Bellamy...
She might have something.
Okay, but just calm down a minute.
Do you know just how offensive that is?
I'm sorry, okay? I mean, no, I'm not going belly up. It's just that when you get so fierce...
I know the archaeology chair. She's one of those eminently appropriate academic politicians. She will never have heard of any Bellamy Pettigrew papers, but she'll look. Then she'll conveniently forget all about it for 2 months because she is just so busy. And why don't I just talk to her assistant, who is dumber than lettuce? God forbid Madam Chairperson should hire anyone with brains who might challenge her esteemed academic ignorance.
Well, most older people don't like to be challenged.
You are a brat, you know that.
I do my best.
Why do I put up with you?
I can make that ancient computer work.
Okay, then why do you put up with me?
You know all the stories.
Good God.
Isn't that why we do this? To learn all the stories of all the cultures, the tales of all the times and places?
It's all in the stories.
All in the stories. Look, I could go over and have some girl talk with Ms. Administrative Assistant. She'll know if Bellamy had any stuff and where all the boxes are buried. I'll do my harassed grad student imitation and throw myself on her mercy.
Why should you have to demean yourself?
To find out about the masks. That's what we want to do, right?
All right, okay.
Okay.
I've got a meeting. I'll go part way with you.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey.
No, thank you, Miss Altschuler.
After you, Dr. Bailey.
No, after you, Miss Altschuler.
Jill and Meredith exit together. Emma is on her island.
To wear each mask, a woman must undergo certain trials. I've been permitted to see each ritual. When a girl reaches puberty, she wears the quadrille mask and is beset by another mask. I think it must have been her lover Tianpuri, although I have not been allowed to see that mask up close. I believe that one of the elder women wore him. 3 times they engage. The first time, Tianpuri tries to catch Kadriyi in a beautifully woven net. The second time, he tries to wrap her in a marvelously designed feather cape. And the third time, he dances around her with spinning torches. Each time, Kadriyi almost lets herself be caught. I liked her because it took a while before she could assert her power, and because she survived all attempts to enwrap or immolate her.
Meredith and Jill enter the office, bringing in a huge carton of papers.
That Bellamy sure knew how to save things.
How much groveling did you have to do to get this?
I've had lots of practice, Dr. Bailey.
You are the complete brat.
He tossed everything in here. Delicatessen menus, parking tickets, old IRS forms, plumber's bills.
And letters. And sketches. Now we just have to get them cataloged.
Look at this. Duamupu Island, February 15, 1911. Where is Duamupu Island, and how do you pronounce it?
Never heard of it. Listen to this. Dear Grace, I'm sending you an installment of the tales of these islanders. They are so wonderful that I want to make sure they are not lost. Of course, I am recording them in my notebook, but as you know, one of my suitcases has already disappeared, and I don't want to chance... Drat, where's the rest of it?
Look at this, Meredith. A sketch of one of our masks.
With pronunciation guide. Kadrihi.
This one, a sketch of the mask. Kadrihi. Her name is Kadrihi.
Any other ones?
He could have at least clipped the letters together.
The man had no method. How could he have been an anthropologist?
Meredith, look, here's one with a signature. Your loving sister, Emma. Emma. These are Emma's masks.
Only papers. Nothing like a notebook in here.
Unless it's in pieces.
Maybe that guy in Ipswich has it.
So somewhere in all this stuff is her story.
Kellick should cough up funding for me to go see him.
What we need is a big table to lay all this out on. We can push the desks together.
They start moving furniture.
I need a long weekend to visit Russell Litchfield Collins and dig through his attic.
I can take your Thursday class some week. I'll do my women's ritual lecture and sort all the letters.
Don't forget about your dissertation.
I won't. Cross my heart.
This is a huge job.
It'll take weeks.
I'd kill for a good cup of coffee.
I thought you quit.
I quit quitting.
I'm on it.
I'll pay, you go. And no idiotic mocha decaf latte slop either.
Americano double shot.
You know that the coffee-drinking ritual goes all the way back to England in the 18th century.
It does?
You get the coffee, and then I'll tell you that story.
Meredith sorts paper. Emma on her island.
Kadriyi was the most beautiful. All the young men were in love with her and neglected all the other young women to court her. After a long time, Kadriyi finally fell in love with Tianpuri, the strongest and handsomest of all the young men, and went to live in his house. Kadriyi knew many men before Tianpuri, but found fault with each of them. One was too fat, the other was too thin. One was too proud, the other was too humble. One only wanted to hunt and dance, the other only dreamed and wrote poetry. And when her mothers and sisters found her a man neither too fat nor too thin, neither proud nor humble, who hunted, danced, and wrote poetry, Kadriyi said it was dull to have a man be too perfect. I can certainly understand how she felt, but sometimes I wonder if I had been as beautiful as Kadriyi, would I have found my Tianpuri and never left Boston or found this island? Would I have died for love instead? Surely I'm better off as I am.
Jill returns with the coffee.
Duamuapue. Did we decide on a pronunciation?
I've been going with Dua.
Dua. March 3rd, 1911. Dear Grace, hope the children are over the measles. Yibble, yibble, yibble. If I were Grace, I'd have packed for the Pacific, joined my sister, and left the kids to sink or swim.
Aha.
Aha, here's something. Some pages are missing, of course, but this is good. Kadriyi loved Tianpuri. Which mask is that, Tianpuri?
Emma enters.
Our masks are all female.
You're the expert now?
They just look female.
Kadriyi loved Tianpuri so much that she could not bear to be parted from him. When he went hunting, she would carry his weapons and watch him hunt. Of course, Tianpuri caught very little, and she neglected her own work, so they ate what their brothers and sisters provided for them. But then the sisters said, Kadriyi took all our lovers from us. Why should we feed her? And they quarreled with their husbands and refused to cook for Kadriyi or Tianpuri. So, after a time, Tianpuri and Kadriyi moved their house to the edge of the village, away from the tribe. Kadriyi had no woman to help her when her babies came, and no one to tell her how they should be cared for. There was not enough food because Tianpuri would not leave her to hunt, and so they died in one another's arms. Is there a beginning to this sordid tale?
Let me see. Okay, it's the darker ink, this pile.
We need to do a chart.
Damn, I can't find it. But that mask makes so much more sense to me now.
You planning to give up all for love?
Oh, right.
Look at her. Love, submission. Gives herself up to the man, all for love.
Or the career, or whatever. It's that she can forget herself in the things she loves.
What's the point of that?
Didn't you ever love anyone like that? Or anything?
It's a bad idea. You end up with nothing.
It doesn't have to be like that. That's the point.
Russell Litchfield Collins, the guy in Ipswich, told me that he had a cousin out west who might have more letters. Out west turned out to be Illinois, the veritable Wild West to a long-time Yankee like Mr. Collins. I'll have to go see her, rummage in her attic. I hope you like teaching that Thursday class.
Sure. You know, Meredith, I thought maybe this would be a good dissertation topic. Instead of, no, before you say anything, I mean, this is original research, not just a rehash of the same thing.
This is not dissertation material. What if Emma made everything up?
You had the masks dated.
I had the materials dated. Emma could have made the masks herself.
No. Why would she do that?
She could have collected the materials during her travels, written in her journal about her ideal of the noble savage, and then left it all in an attic. She was just one of those lady travelers, after all. No training, no method.
I don't believe it. She might not have been an anthropologist, but I know she didn't make these up.
You don't want to believe it. Neither do I, but we have to consider the possibility.
I know there's something in these masks, and I'm going to find it.
You want to explain the change to Kellick?
I can't write my dissertation and work on the masks as well.
Then don't work on the masks.
Just keep the computer from crashing and regurgitate everything Kellick has already chewed while you work on something that could be groundbreaking?
Or a complete fiasco. We have no proof that these are authentic.
But the masks are so
one
real.
Thing you haven't found Duamuapue yet.
It sounds like Micronesia from what I've read so far, but no one makes masks there. And there's a lot of islands in the Pacific.
Keep looking for it, Robinson Crusoe. Hell, look at the time. I've got to get to class.
Meredith exits. Jill works. Emma on her island.
After a woman goes to live with her husband, she wears the Ajala mask. While wearing it, she is surrounded by a gang of children pretending to be hungry or sick. First she must hold and cuddle each child, and the child pretends to be happy and healed by that embrace. Then she must return that child to its rightful family, while the child wails loudly to be parted from her. The children adore this ritual and vie to be chosen for it. Grace's children would love to be part of it.
Meredith enters the office carrying a suitcase. Jill is filling out forms.
I'm about ready to go.
I'm going to go ahead and do the McClare proposal.
I told you it's a waste of time.
I think we should apply anyway.
Everyone knows that the McClarement Foundation is completely off the wall. You never know what they're after or what they'll do, and the grants are paltry.
I can use most of what we've done on those other grant proposals. It won't take long.
If you want to. I've got to get to the airport by 2.
Before you go, where did you put the Ajala mask?
On the shelf.
No, only 2 are there.
That's ridiculous. I saw them when I came in. I've been here all morning.
Jill is opening drawers.
Jill, they couldn't possibly be in there.
Jill takes the Ajala mask out of a desk drawer.
You put it there. Some kind of joke.
I think they move.
You are not serious.
Well, I didn't put it here. Cross my heart.
Wouldn't it be better to just get away from it all now and then? You're looking what they used to call peaked.
Peaked?
Emma would worry that you might go into a decline.
It's winter. All grad students are peaked in the winter.
Well, take care of yourself, okay?
I will.
So when I get back, you'll have a chapter finished, right?
There's a lot of grading to do. And I have to finish these up.
Don't worry about the grading. I'll do it when I get back to town.
We've had those papers for nearly a month. The kids are asking about them.
You've wasted too much time on the masks, Jill. I want a chapter done when I get back. Cross your heart.
Cross my heart.
Good. See you soon.
Emma on her island.
Ajala had more children than any other woman, and she loved them all. Whenever a child was orphaned or its parents walked off, Ajala would always take that child to her fire. Even children with families of their own wanted to eat at Ajala's fire, to be loved by Ajala. Of course, no man could stay long with her, because Ajala loved the children first and their fathers second. Still, children are a great responsibility, and everyone in the tribe was glad that Ajala was willing to cook for and teach so many small ones. So many small ones, just like Grace. How can sisters be so different? Except that I want more than anything to wear the Ajala mask. I must think why. And the women finally agreed that I am old enough to wear Ajala, even though I have no children. Nor am I likely to, although I didn't tell them that. I don't know why it was an issue, now that I consider the matter, because even the few barren Duamuapue women wear Ajala when they're old enough. Of course, if a woman has no children, she helps with her sister's children, or with those of other women, so she has to wear Ajala. And they are right. Woman's nature is to let herself be eaten, if not by children, then by other responsibilities. I left Boston because I saw myself being nibbled to death by tiny tasks, each one so small that it seemed churlish to say no to it. Each one so small that the asker saw it as nothing, so that finally everyone believed that I did nothing, a lady of leisure. The day I found myself in a rage because my sister asked me to return her library books, I knew it was time to leave.
Jill is in the office drawing. Meredith enters, gives Jill Emma's notebook.
Worth the trip. Worth the whole tedious trip.
Emma's notebook?
Feast your eyes.
Emma's actual notebook? Looks like she dropped it in the Pacific a couple of times.
It's readable, that's all that counts.
Miss Emma Pettigrew Litchfield, Boston, Massachusetts. How did Cousin Pat end up with this, way out in Illinois?
She didn't know. A couple of years ago, she and her husband and 3 kids moved all the way from Columbus, Illinois, all the way east to Peoria. When they unpacked, they found the notebook. My goodness, it must have come from Aunt Lillian's house, she said. Like Aunt Lillian's things just migrated to Pat's attic without human aid. No method, just like her great-uncle Bellamy.
Drawings. Look, Meredith, drawings.
I read it on the plane. Made notes. Now I can link 'em up with Bellamy's stuff.
Ajala. That's how you pronounce it. Mother Ajala. Her life is full of love. Every child that sees her just runs up and wants to hug her.
I think she's like the old woman in the shoe with too many children. Look at that martyred brow.
It's her choice to be with her children. Ajala is the kind of mother who would let you come cuddle with her in bed on a Saturday morning. Not like my mother.
In some societies, they send children out into the woods to survive, and they do, and are better for it.
How would you know? You had that happy days childhood.
Leave it to Beaver. My mother was June.
They didn't send you out into the woods.
I sometimes wish they had. My mother took care of all of us, made cookies, folded our socks. When I left home, life was quite a shock to my system. And when she died, my father couldn't cope without her to tend to him. Fortunately, he found another woman who wanted to be his mother, and he died happy.
My mom and dad were just, they really loved each other and didn't have a lot of time for us kids. I mean, Mom was like the princess, and us kids never talked to her or my dad about school or anything. They didn't want to hear about problems. And then I was the only one of my brothers and sisters who wanted to go to college, and they were like, we can't afford it. They bought new cars and a house in Florida, but they never even came to my graduation.
But you write, you visit, you love her still.
Everyone loves their mom.
Yeah, it's a given thing. Everyone loves their mother because she's taking chunks off herself for them. My father just plunked himself down and food appeared. I'm not even sure he knew where it came from. And I couldn't be alone. She had to partake of me all the time.
You're lucky she wanted to partake.
Oh, yeah. If only I'd had your chances, I would have done something with my life.
That's how mothers are.
All of them?
My parents had date night. I'd have to play in the basement until bedtime and then stay in my room. One night, I really thought there was a monster in my closet. I mean, I completely believed it. Got all shivery and everything. Called my mom. I wasn't surprised when she didn't come, but the monster got louder and I just had to get up and go to her room. Then I stood there trying to decide what's worse, going back or opening the door I wasn't allowed to. I stood there for hours.
That's why you're so good at making decisions.
Oh, well, but I did therapy for a while and got through all of that mother betrayal stuff.
Good. That's good. Poor mothers, though. They just can't win.
Meredith and Jill work. Emma appears on her island.
None of Ajala's children ever left to make their own fires. Some children were taller than others, but all of them stayed with her. Ajala grew thinner, and her children grew fatter and more numerous every day. Then the women of the tribe went to Ajala and said to her, "You are growing thinner and thinner. Let us take some of the children to our fires." And Ajala said to them, "These are my children." Then the children's fathers went to Ajala and said to her, "These children must leave your fire and become adults." And Ajala said to them, "These are my children." Then some people said, "Let us stop bringing Ajala food, so she will have to let some of her children go to other fires." But other people said, "No, then the children will starve, and that's wrong." While the tribe argued with itself, more and more children gathered at Ajala's fire, and Ajala grew thinner and thinner. Then one day, Muwapawe sent a great wind. Huge trees fell down all around the village, and everyone was afraid. Then the wind stopped, and the people came out and saw that no trees had fallen on them. But while they were rejoicing, Ajala's children were crying because their mother was nowhere to be found. It is said that she blew away in Muwapawe's wind. It's enough to make even Grace give up her happy motherhood. For me, well, the Duamuapawe women are very worried that I don't have children, and they've tried to match me with several charming widowers. I was amazed at how tempted I felt. But I don't want to stay here forever. There are so many other islands to explore.
Meredith and Jill in the office, relaxing, eating lunch. Meredith is sorting slides. Jill is drawing labyrinths.
So, with these labyrinths, how do you know where the ending is? I mean, how long until you get to the center?
All I know is Theseus and the Minotaur, Ariadne's thread.
The Maiden confronts the monster.
When's that scanner going to be available?
3 weeks. They said 1, but you know how that goes. Just realizing there's an end to it, that you go in and there's a center, that's amazing. But going back, isn't that frustrating, going back over the same ground?
Is that an anthropological question?
No, I'm asking you. You, Meredith, about life, not about the people of this or that tribe, but just you about life.
You're acting like the intro students. They think that anthropology is going to bring them enlightenment and revelation.
But there's a whole bunch of people who are making labyrinths now. It's sort of a meditation technique. You walk the labyrinth. You learn that going at things directly just makes you nuts.
Jill, this is making me nuts. So far you've tried crystals, drumming, chanting, some kind of solstice dance, and now labyrinths. Lots of New Age wooga-wooga and only 1 chapter finished.
There's some very solid research that shows how meditation actually works. I can find the sources for you.
Please do.
It lowers your blood pressure, improves your ability to concentrate, and releases...
If you concentrate on one technique, it might. Otherwise, it's New Age bullshit, avoidance activity. Dissertation avoidance is a well-known phenomenon.
This is just for fun.
You have an odd idea of fun.
I think it's important to try and connect to something bigger.
I'm sure it is, but drawing circles instead of...
I mean, don't you ever feel like things are kind of, I don't know, pointless?
Life is like that.
Some nights when I can't sleep, I just don't see much reason to. It wouldn't much matter if we all just turned into dust. Or seeds, so something better could grow.
Better than what?
Sometimes I dream about wandering in a maze, trying to get to class, maybe, I'm not sure, and I can't get there.
There's people you can talk with about insomnia.
Mazes and labyrinths are 2 different things. Did you know that? You don't get lost in a labyrinth the way you do in a maze. You walk around and around, but you get to the middle, and then you walk out again.
Walking out again sounds good. Does drawing them help you to sleep?
A little. I don't need much sleep, really.
There are some very persuasive studies indicating that too little sleep can be bad for you.
Everyone is different, though.
But if you want to turn into dust...
Oh, that was just a bad dream.
I used to do rituals. Did I ever tell you that story?
I don't think so.
When I was young, even when I was old enough to know better, I had a bedtime ritual. Everything in its place, arranged just so. The animals and dolls, Raggedy Ann, Bunty Bunny, Butch Bear, all in order against the pillow on the spare bed. The bedspread folded 3 times at the foot of my bed, 1 loop, 2, 3 loops. Even at 8 years old, I knew that I really couldn't control squat and tried to catch on to whatever edges I could. Keep at least the bed covers and dolls from flying out into the void.
Did you save Butch and, what was it, the bunny? Do you still have them?
When I got older, I'd be elaborately casual about it all, sort of accidentally folding the covers in 3 neat loops. But it was still a ritual to keep away evil.
So is that why you decided to study rituals?
Probably. What I discovered is that the search for ritual is all the same human impulse. To control the uncontrollable, which can't be done.
Yes, but it can. With meditation, with labyrinths.
Okay, but keep turning out chapters.
I will.
Cross your heart.
Cross my heart.
Pinky swear. There is a theory that the childhood ritual of crossing your heart is based on making the sign of the cross.
What about the pinky swear?
No idea.
Maybe I'll do my dissertation on that.
You are the ultimate brat.
Emma on her island.
The Chamagana ritual is not as public as those of Kadri and Ajala. When a woman's children are grown and her menses stop, she must go on a day's journey to find and gather a rare plant with healing properties. Noniguera, they call it. Whoever the woman wearing Chamagana dislikes most is chosen to play death, teasing and tricking her as she hunts for the plant. But the old woman must remain focused on her goal, even as she is tripped up by snares or death's mocking hands. Not all women succeed, but those who do become respected healers. I don't understand, Jamagana.
I hate this story.
Jamagana?
It's so... Why wreck the world?
It's a myth, Jill.
At least the other two love something. Still, she does become a healer.
You know the myths. All shaman have to go crazy first. What are you doing with that mask?
Making a copy.
Why on earth are you doing this?
So I can understand them better.
Jill.
I've done 2 more chapters. I have time.
Kellick keeps asking me how your dissertation is coming.
I talked to him. He has the chapters.
He thinks we're spending too much time on the masks.
It was his idea.
It was another hoop for me to jump through. But I persuaded him to let me fly to Seattle to meet with that Oceania expert. At the end of the semester. Can you take my last class for me?
Sure.
I'm not sure how long I'll stay. It depends on what I find out.
I've got lots to keep me busy.
Are you going anywhere for winter break?
I don't know.
It's good to get away somewhere.
Like Seattle?
Jill.
I know. There's not enough money.
Aren't your folks in Florida this winter?
Yeah.
I bet I could sneak a plane trip to Florida into the budget so no one would notice.
They're busy. Besides, I can probably get 5 chapters done if I stay here.
That would be good.
Don't you have to get to class?
Yeah, I do.
Meredith exits. Emma enters. As she speaks, Jill enters to a place on the campus carrying the Kadrihi mask. She puts on Kadrihi and walks a labyrinth.
Kadrihi was the most beautiful. Her skin was as smooth and dark as the river, her breasts as full and round as the honey fruit. All the other young girls tried to be like her. They bathed in the river to smooth their skin. They ate honey fruit to make their bodies round. But none of them were as beautiful as Kadrihi, and she knew that. She loved to look at herself in still water and in other people's eyes. Kadrihi was the joy of the people. When she walked to the fields, flowers grew as she passed, and bright birds flew around her. Every day was a delight to her, and everyone who saw her had to smile at her beauty and at her happiness.
Jill opens her arms, joyful. She takes off the mask, smiling, in love. As Emma continues speaking, Jill enters the office and covers it with sketches and drawings of the masks.
Duamuapoe Island, December 10th, 1913. Dear Grace, in all my traveling, I found myself continually thinking about the Duamuapoe women and their masks. So, before returning home to you, I exerted myself to find passage on a boat that was going to their island. I wanted to visit it once again. But when I arrived, Reverend Hirkosh told me that the Duamuapoe had disappeared. He hadn't seen any of them for 6 months. Grace, it's a tiny island, perhaps 6 miles in diameter, sand and jungle rising to the usual volcanic peak. I walked to the village where I had spent so many happy hours and found it deserted. Everything was in perfect order, in the Duamuapoe version of leaving the summer house, carefully closed, furniture draped in sheeting, all the food sealed against mice or insects. It is not hyperbole to say that it was eerie. I convinced some of the sailors to help me search the island. We found the tribe's boats carefully beached, with jungle vines already growing around them. We climbed the peak from which we could see the deserted village and the clearing where they grew their crops. But we saw no other clearings, no fires or smoke, no one on the beach. All I have is my notes and the masks to prove it wasn't just a dream.
Meredith enters the office as if from a trip. Jill jumps when she sees her.
Surprise.
Whoa, you scared me.
My.
I just wanted to be able to study them better.
You look awful. You're still not eating.
I'm fine.
Or sleeping.
I'm fine.
Come on, Jill. You're obsessed.
Aren't you?
I'm doing research, applying for grants, working on a publication. Come on, Jill. Just slow down a little. You need to stop driving yourself.
You're driving yourself.
I know my limits.
Meredith starts taking Jill's masked drawings off the bulletin board. Jill puts them back up.
Stop that.
If dear chairperson Jimmy Kellett comes in here, he'll know we've both gone crazy.
You don't have to be so... You're always so angry and unhappy. Put them back.
Jill, I'm angry because you're neglecting your dissertation and because you haven't done any of the research I've asked you to do on these masks. Have you been home? Have you been in here all the time I was gone?
Of course not.
Have you written anything?
It doesn't matter how much I write about the Tarahumara. They're still an endangered species. No tribe can survive plastic and measles and cheap T-shirts.
Indigenous people are always endangered.
You're wrecking it.
Get your degree and maybe you can do something about it.
Don't.
You need something you can count on. You can't wander from one obsession to another.
You wandered from...
I know what I did. It messed up my career. Just write the damn thing.
There's more to life than a dissertation.
Not if you plan on a graduate degree.
I'm teaching your classes so you can run around and try to find out where these masks came from. Just let me alone to study them in my own way.
Jill, I'm running around doing what everyone recognizes as good research. You're holed up in here, staring at these masks as if they held the key to all life.
They have a lot to teach us. There are so many stories in each one of them.
Oh, for heaven's sake, please stop with the New Age crap. It's just more of that old racist, noble savage garbage. How to tap into the spirit of the universe in 9 easy lessons.
It takes more than 9 lessons, and they aren't easy.
Why not use what we've got? There's a different church on every corner downtown, plus a synagogue. The campus hosts meetings for all of them, Muslims, Buddhists, Wiccans. You'd like Wiccans.
It doesn't work for me. I tried it all.
Then I don't see how some made-up cosmic consciousness from some mythical tribe will do it. You're looking for salvation.
I'm looking for something bigger than just this nasty little room in this crummy college writing pointless papers about things only 4 people in the world give any kind of damn about.
Thanks.
The thing is... I keep seeing a big empty hole at the center of things, and how we all keep busy, full of busyness so as not to see it, that empty place. We make up stuff and call it important. A career, getting rich, famous, influential, or believing in a cause, helping the downtrodden, exploited third world, or loving Jesus, or even just working with kids or a soup kitchen. But when I do that stuff... I don't get all uplifted, get it back fourfold like they say I will. I just get so shy, and I can't talk to children or the guests at the kitchen. I get scared and depressed. I tried all the causes, animal rights, abortion rights, all of it, but I could still see that hole, that emptiness underneath, like the Women's Center, solving the same problems over and over again for 30 years, and women never learn anything. All the righteous and the holy causes are just ego, group solidarity in the dark, something to do, to keep from seeing how stupid it all is, to keep from...
I know, Jill. I know. But the Salvation of the Month Club is not the answer. Stick with one thing.
What have you stuck with?
My work. My work.
And that's enough? From one academic drudge job to another, teaching kids you don't like?
I don't think you know anything about my life.
I know you're unhappy.
Maybe. But I don't want to turn into dust anytime soon.
You always bring that up, as if I'm going to... Life is so beautiful. Just look at these masks, how beautiful they are. And to be so angry, so bitter, so that you attack me for just trying to help you?
Attack?
You said that women need to learn to say no, but then when I say no, you get so upset.
You think I'm attacking you?
We're all supposed to be so tough, no matter what's happening to you. You're supposed to be up there with the guys, working away, cramps, hot flashes, moods, whatever. Just transcend them. Oh, sure, this has all been chewed over in the media forever, but meanwhile, we're living our lives out here, and sound bites don't help. I need something that's only mine, only ours, secret, personal, quiet.
Like the masks.
Yes.
Even if they are from a culture you have no way of understanding. Even if Emma made them up.
Yes.
You're hiding in them. You need to...
If I'm hiding, then you're hiding too.
I'm functional. I eat, I sleep, I get my work done.
And you're cruel to your students and attack me when I try to stand up to you.
Is that what you believe?
Why are you so afraid of the masks? Do you think I'm stealing them from you?
Don't talk nonsense.
Just try wearing one, Meredith.
We are scientists. We have to separate ourselves from the artifacts we study.
We can help each other. To understand the masks, to learn about ourselves, we can help each other.
I don't think so. I think we've both said quite enough.
Meredith.
We won't talk about this again.
Meredith exits. Jill, with the Ajala mask, sits in a grassy area of the campus. She puts it on expectantly, stands waiting. Nothing.
Then, after a while, people realized that no child ever left Ajala's fire. Some children were taller than others, but they all stayed with her. They did not quarrel with her to prove their strength as other children do. They did not build fires of their own. They did not bring their mother food.
Jill takes off the mask, puts it on again.
Ajala grew thinner, and her children grew fatter and more numerous every day. Then the women of the tribe went to Ajala and said to her, "You are growing thinner and thinner. Let us take some of the children to our fires." And Ajala said to them, "These are my children."
Jill takes off the mask, puts it on again.
Then the children's fathers went to Ajala and said to her, "These children must leave your fire and become adults." And Ajala said to them, "These are my children."
Jill takes off the mask.
What is it? What do you want? Why won't you talk to me?
Meredith enters.
What's all this about you walking holes in the grass, the only grass on the whole campus?
The masks need to be out under the sky.
Chairman Kellick himself asked me about it, expressed his concerns. I pretended it was research into tribal rituals. Jill, this is bullshit. It'll put my whole tenure at risk.
I do it on my own time.
You've taken one of the masks.
It's a copy. Look, you can tell.
What's next? Taking off your clothes and dancing naked in the parking lot?
It calms my mind.
If you weren't obsessing about these masks, you wouldn't need to calm your mind.
We've been through this. You said you wouldn't talk about it anymore.
It's freezing out here, Jill. It's going to snow. Have you thought of... What about going to the counseling center?
How about the legal aid clinic to find out about free exercise of religion?
Don't be ridiculous.
Have you ever been to the counseling center? Those people are incredibly... I know they want to help, but they have no idea. They just make the kind of listening noises you get out of one of those dumb self-help books. It sounds like you're feeling a little sad. I hear a lot of anger in you. It's stupid. It's useless.
Then find someone smarter.
It's just a matter of... Oh, it's simple. Too simple, maybe. But we all need to care for each other. Why can't we just help each other, sit down and talk? To be so cut off, to separate like that without really even saying why.
We aren't helping each other, that's why.
I don't mean to judge. This is not a judgment at all. That's not what I want to do here, but you are struggling too. I know you are. I won't say midlife crisis. That's judgmental, and I absolutely do not want to do that.
Now who's talking psychobabble?
What I'm worried about, it even frightens me a little. What will happen to you if you don't do anything about all of this? If you just stay with that cynical, angry self? I know that isn't who you really are inside. It's very hard, very painful for me to go back to, good morning, is the computer working? I don't know what to do.
Look, why don't you just take a day off? Go home, have a nap, take a long walk, just get away from it all for a while. You'll feel better for it.
Don't patronize me. I'm not a child.
Jill exits. Meredith goes to her office and starts searching for the masks, which, once again, have wandered off.
I have to be nuts to do this, as nuts as... I am nuts. Where did I put...
Meredith hunts, finds Ajala in a drawer.
Premature senility. No, mature senility. No. They migrate.
Meredith hunts some more, finds Chamagana on the floor behind the bookcase.
I don't think I'll report this migration phenomenon in my scientific finding.
Meredith finally finds Kadrihi in another unlikely spot and puts her on. Emma appears and begins to speak. Meredith is very uncomfortable wearing Kadrihi.
After a long time, Kadrihi finally fell in love with Tianpuri, the strongest and handsomest of all the young men, and went to live in his house. She loved him so much that she could not bear to be parted from him. When he went hunting, she followed him. Of course, Tianpuri caught very little, and she neglected her own work. There was not enough food because Tianpuri would not leave Kadrihi to hunt, and so they died in one another's arms.
Meredith rips the mask off her face. She is near tears. Jill enters.
Jill,
All the slideshows are ready for the week. I'll come in before class every morning and check that the computer projection system is still working.
Jill, I want to say I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I shouldn't have come down on you so hard about the masks. It's just that I'm worried about you.
You don't have to be.
I'm not worried because I have to be. I'm worried because I'm worried. I wore Kadrihi.
Why?
I thought I might learn something.
Did you learn something?
That the masks are dangerous.
No, they aren't. They aren't. You just have to...
I was Kadrihi once. We're all Kadrihi when we're young, falling in love or with ideas or with saving the world, but it doesn't last. You have to settle. You have to...
That's not what the story is about.
It is for me.
You need to wear Ajala. She wouldn't speak to me for the longest time, but finally It's all about love and caring for each other.
If I didn't care about you, we wouldn't be...
Kadrihi and Ajala, they loved, they sacrificed for something more than themselves.
What good are you if you die for love or get blown away in Muapawe's wind?
What good are you if you aren't there for the people who need you?
I've learned not to let myself be eaten.
You've learned how to close yourself off, shut yourself down.
No, I've just learned not to be wide open to any crap the universe wants to throw at me.
I can't live like that.
Then you'll be blown away by the winds of the god.
Have you noticed that Muapawe gives Shamagana a way out to be a healer? But not Kadrihi and Ajala. They get no help.
Because it's obvious from the stories and the rituals. Stay connected with daily life. Make food. Eat it. Don't starve yourself for love.
Do whatever you have to do to live. Write a dissertation that will get you a good job even if it bores you to death, shuts you down, suffocates you.
It's not that bad.
Isn't it?
Lots of people figure it out. Not everyone has to starve or suffocate.
I don't know anyone who doesn't.
Then you don't know very many people.
I know you.
No. No, you don't.
Meredith exits. Jill exits. Jill appears at the grassy patch of the campus. She carries the Chamagana mask and a bundle of papers, her thesis research. She holds up the mask and looks into its eyes. As Emma speaks, Jill carefully lays out the papers on the grass.
After Chamagana had been fighting with death for 10 days, the heat from their battle set the grass on fire. Then the trees caught fire and the whole jungle burned. Finally, the river started boiling. It boiled all the way to the ocean. It boiled the ocean, and it boiled the fish right up out of the ocean. But death escaped. Chamagana went wild with rage. She tore up trees, she tossed around rocks, she pulled the dead out of the earth and scattered their bones. Finally, the great goddess Muapawe had to come down and stop her. Muapawe agreed that Chamagana had a right to be angry, but nothing could be done now that death was in the world.
Jill puts on the Chamagana mask and lights the papers on fire. On Emma's last few lines, we hear Meredith yelling off stage and continuing to yell as she runs in.
Jill, no! Stop that! Jill, what are you... Jill, damn it, don't do that! Get away from that! Jill!
Jill stands exalted. Meredith starts stamping out the fire. Blackout. In the office, Jill is looking around her with joyful amazement. Meredith, furious, is rummaging.
Thank God it's January and no one's around. What if Kellick had seen this? Or security had got there before I could get enough snow on the fire? Here's some of your herbal tea sillage. Drink it. You haven't been eating or sleeping. Don't get all crazy on me. You do not go out and set things on fire. You do not go out and don't do this to me.
I feel a lot better.
You look absolutely green.
I feel wonderful.
This granola bar is of dubious provenance, but it was hermetically sealed, so it shouldn't be too bad. Eat it.
Thanks.
Eat!
Okay, I'm eating.
What the hell did you burn out there? Thank God it's snowing and slushing like it always does. We'd have the campus cops all over us. I don't know why we don't have them all over us.
It was my dissertation.
Oh, my God.
All the chapters.
They're on your laptop. What's the point? Doing some kind of insane ritual. Like you're healing aromas and other woo-woo crap. I thought you were over that. It's not science. Magic is not science.
It's celebration. Magic is celebration.
The hell are you celebrating?
I have made a choice, a decision, a real decision. Didn't you have some bourbon in your desk?
Damn it, Jill.
Jill rummages in the desk, comes up with a bottle and a couple of coffee cups, pours the bourbon into the cups.
If I hadn't burned it, I just would have gone ahead. I would have written the dissertation and turned
become
into...
like me. The worst possible thing you could become. You come here, you waste my time and everyone else's time screwing around with one more stupid attempt at a degree, and then blame me for your lunacy. They all do. If only I could love you enough, but it's never enough for any of you. I have to break off chunks of myself to keep you all happy. And when I won't do that, I'm a bitch who doesn't get tenure and whose students blame me for their failures and who no man can stand to have around. Or woman, because I don't love enough and let myself be eaten up, come straight to Crone without passing sweet girlhood or kindly motherhood. God damn it all to hell.
Oh, Meredith.
My life is not a tribal artifact. I do not need to learn from some fictional maiden mother crone tale in order to manage my life. I told you those masks were dangerous. I told you they were. God damn it, Jill.
I'm sorry. No, I really am sorry. Not that Cocker Spaniel
I'm not
thing.
angry at you. Don't you understand that I'm not angry at you? I am angry at the world. I am angry at stupid people who don't want to partake of all the stuff I've learned, the gifts I've collected all these years. Find your passion, live your bliss. That Campbell man did anthropology such a disservice. You don't get happiness, you get work. You work, and many are called, but few are chosen. Hard work doesn't always get the prize. No one ever says, yes, that was good work. Never one student who goes on to make something of herself, so I don't just disappear into the void in quiet desperation with my head full of ideas and now there's probably arthritis or something going on in my ankle. That means I can't climb mountains anymore, and...
You don't have to climb mountains anymore.
I want to climb mountains.
Then climb mountains.
Stick to the point.
I didn't know how much I affected you.
Of course you do. I know you. We've shared this 10-by-10 office for 2 years. I know about your mother, your father, when your dog got hit by a car. I know you have a rapport with the students and want to give them chunks of you.
You're right, I do. Look, I have a toast. Here's to doing dumb things on the lawn in the snow.
Bullshit.
Here's to taking chances.
I'm too old to take chances.
Here's to embracing the person I care most about in the world.
Don't drink on an empty stomach. Here's my lunch sandwich. Eat.
First, the toast. To the person I care about.
To you.
Damn! That's disgusting.
A present from Jimmy on some long-forgotten occasion. Eat the sandwich. Don't worry, it hasn't been around as long as the bourbon.
Yes, Mother.
That's Professor Mother to you.
Jill takes the sandwich and eats.
Now, what the hell did you think you were doing?
Okay. I was thinking about how I just fall into things because they look like something safe, something my parents would understand. And as I was walking the labyrinth, I was thinking of my grandmother and my mother and what my mother is going to become if she ever becomes a grandmother, which is a scary thought. And I thought of you and the things I want to become and the things I don't want to become and how I have to make a decision. And when I got to the center, I thought, I'm just going to scrap all this other stuff. And I did. It's so obvious what the masks tell us, but so easy to miss pieces on the way in our lives. The masks, their stories, they bring it all together.
Love is dangerous, mothering is impossible, and age is...
Unless you dance out from under.
What kind of dance?
Travel. Go to all those places I've only read about, like you, Peru, China, Bulgaria, Kenya,
I told you the world doesn't want to be saved.
I'm not going to try to save
and
anyone.
Hitchhiking the globe went out with the hippies.
Remember that cockamamie foundation I shouldn't have applied to? McClaramid Foundation place? They sent us some money, enough to get us started.
Is that why you burnt us? What do you mean us?
2 plane tickets to Hawaii. That's where Emma started. Then we'll look for her island.
I can't afford to do that.
You can write a book about our adventures, make a bundle.
Just walk out on the tenure decision.
You write that book, people will line up to hire you.
It's running away.
It's running toward.
What if we don't find it? The island. What if it's not there anymore?
You write about the journey.
Cosmic crap.
You want to stay here? Stay here.
Oh, I wish this weren't making sense.
Jill holds her breath.
It's a long shot, a long way, a long lunatic journey.
Meredith raises her coffee cup.
To Emma.
To Emma.
You're still a brat.
But I'm your brat.
The most important point is finding the island. Duamuapawe. I need to prove it's there, or that it was there. Someone must remember. There must be stories.
It's all in the stories.
Meredith and Jill then pick up their duffel bags and exit the office. Emma, with her notebook, no longer on the island.
Rereading these pages, I find it astonishing that I was so terrified of Chimagana all those years ago. How strange that she is now my constant companion, on my desk during the day, on my night table as I sleep. I look to her to heal me from 90 years of life. I wouldn't trade in 1 day of it. But I'm ready to go traveling again.
Meredith and Jill heading for the airport with their duffel bags. Jill goes on ahead. Meredith pauses, looks directly at Emma, who looks back at her. A wave, a salute, and a blackout.
We really hope you enjoyed Spiraling by Judith Pratt. And if you did, tune in next week for an interview with Judith. The Modern Myths podcast is produced by 12 Piers Theatre. Executive producer, Vince Ventura. Producers, Sarah Fisher, Matt Henderson, and Marcus Savage. Dramaturg, Abigail Caddy. Spiraling was directed by Ingrid Sonneshin, featuring Erica Cuenca as Jill, Virginia Grunert as Meredith, Cara Ronzetti as Emma, James Fitzgerald, reading stage directions. Recording location generously provided by Carnegie Mellon University. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe.